every bit of it all. When the cold winds blow, we gather round, neighbors and kin, laughter and sound, stories told by the fire's glow, the kind of warmth only country folks know. Only country folks know. Serendipity Point, where the good Lord shines, finding treasures you never set out to find, in the flora and fauna, in the mountain air, finding joy in all things, and a whole lot to share. Whole lot to share. When we say living high, we mean elevation, closer to the sky, not worldly temptation. A little piece of heaven, simple and true, a place where the soul can start anew. Can start anew. Serendipity Point, on Leafwood Hill, life moves easy and time stands still. Living high where the heart stays strong. This mountain life is where we belong. So if you ever wonder where the ridgelines meet, you might find a place that feels complete. Living life the way it was meant to be. Up on serendipity. Work. Blue collar worker, time to wake up and roll. Get that coffee in your system, get your mind and your soul. Boots by the doorway, hard hat riding shotgun. Sun ain't even up yet, but the day's already begun. Steel toes hit the gravel, cold air fills your lungs. Another day to build it right, another job to get done. No shortcuts taken, no easy road we choose. We earn every dollar, got too much pride to lose. Get that coffee and hit the road, no delay, no slowing down. Another job, another load, where the backbone of this town. Get to the site and get to working, hands in motion, engines turning, making America great again. With sweat and grit we're earning, breaking down the old and failing, building strength that won't give in. From the ground up, never trailing, making America great again. No desk or office space for us, no climate-controlled routine. We work in dirt, steel, and concrete, where real lives lived and seen. Using our heads, hands, and backs, every move has got a cost. Measured cuts and steady hands, no room for getting lost. Blueprints in the morning light, changing plans by noon, solving problems fly, getting it done real soon.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's see here. How we doing, man? Monday morning, 17th day of July. Here's a quick note. I've been doing this live stream on Monday mornings for a year now. Unbelievable. A solid year. All right, got that coffee going this morning? Turn the background up a little bit. All righty. Good morning once again, my hard-working brothers and sisters of the Blue Collar Sunrise. This is Bubba coming to you live from this side of the coffee pot. Got her done. Got coffee right here. I'm going to wait a few minutes on that. This side of the work boots. Got the work boots on myself, ready to go this morning. And this side of another Monday morning opportunity. And remember, this is another day, another week, another opportunity to exercise your leadership skills, take care of yourself, look out for your coworkers, and get home safely after a productive day of work. And somewhere beyond the digital Appalachian ridgeline, smiling through the veil of wisdom, wit, enough common sense to remind us that because something doesn't hurt today, doesn't mean it isn't hurting us. That's plural for you. You see her right there. I changed her up. I've got several pictures of her. This is one of my favorite ones. I've got her old hound dog holding the light of wisdom, or light of showing the way in the book of wisdom. And she's my digital assistant who keeps me moving through all the things that I have going. Today, we're beginning another important conversation. Now, we've spent months talking about the injuries we can often see coming, such as falls are an area where we might have flying objects. We can see hazards that might cut us, and we recognize crushing hazards. Now we're turning our attention towards something that may operate quietly. That's dust, noise, fumes, chemicals, and heat. Things capable of taking a little piece of your health every day without asking permission. These are the injuries you don't see coming. So grab the coffee, get your mind awake. I've been shaking off the cobwebs. You can see I'm still yawning. Shaking off the cobwebs for better than an hour now. So grab that coffee, get your mind awake, and let's start another Monday the way we always do, by thinking safe, timely, and efficient. All right. Hope everybody's doing good today. Little filler moment there. Anyway, let's start out with the phrase of the week. And the phrase of the week is temporary work, permanent reputation. Construction is temporary. Think about that. We arrive, we build, or we repair, or we demolish, and eventually we leave. The job trailer disappears, the dumpsters disappear, the equipment gets hauled away, workers move to another project. But something remains. And what is that? Your reputation. Long after you've forgotten the job, somebody remembers how you performed it. They remember whether you showed up. They remember whether you kept your word. And they remember whether your work was clean, whether you cared about quality, whether you were a helpful part of the crew or became another problem the crew had to solve. Every job is temporary, but every job adds another line to the story people tell about you. Construction is a surprisingly small world. Today's laborer may be tomorrow's superintendent. Today's subcontractor may recommend you for the biggest job opportunity of your career 5 years from now. So, don't only work for today's paycheck, work for the reputation you're building behind your name. Because projects end, buildings change, crews move on, but good character travels with you. So does bad character. Temporary work, permanent reputation. Build accordingly. I can't stress that enough. You get those phone calls. Hey man, can you do this? You got time? And it's easy. It's easy to ruin a good reputation. It takes a lot of work to maintain a good reputation. So build accordingly. Think about that. It's never ending. How you perform when you smile under pressure or how you perform under pressure, all that makes a difference in how people see you. All right, good morning. Join in. Let me know what trades you're representing, what part of the country you're working in, what kind of projects you got going. Are you doing new build? Are you doing remodel? You doing commercial, residential? I really want to know who I'm talking to. Like I said, it's been a year. Whoa, excuse me. It's been a year. Been a year getting up at 4 a.m. and spending Sunday mornings prepping for this show, getting up at 4 a.m. on Mondays to present it to you and say hello. And I know, man, it's an odd, godly time of day to do a live stream, but man, we're in construction. We got places to go, people to see, things to get done. And if I had it at a later time, you'd be in the middle of safety meetings, project meetings, getting crews started, getting on the job sites. Things get busy. When you hit the job site, I spent years. I know what it's like. You hit the job site and all of a sudden you're busy. Got to keep things rolling. Got to get it rolling. Got things to do, people to see. It's busy. And when we get there, man, we get there, don't we? It's time to go to work, boys. Yeah, but you've been working. I mean, and I hope with this weather, man, it is hot and steamy. Uh, I'm going to talk about, and I talk about it pretty regular during these hotter weather months, but it is hot and sticky. So make sure you're hydrating on the way to the work. You saw me drink some coffee, but I've already had at least 16 ounces of water this morning before hitting that coffee. And I got a bottle of water right here beside me. You may see me tug on that thing here during the show. So hydration is absolutely critical to good health. Anyway, glad you're here this morning. Thanks for stopping by. Here we are in August the 17th. Like I said, can you believe we're already into August? Almost halfway in, past halfway into August. Fixing to wind up another year. Any of you deer hunters out there, y'all getting ready for your deer season? You ought to be thinking about it. Getting your feed plots in, putting up the trail cams, seeing what the movement is. Son-in-law showed me a big old bear I got right back here. He's a big boy, probably about 400-pound black bear. Anybody like bear meat? If you like bear meat, let me know. Maybe we can work something out. It seems like I got more than one around here. They're probably gonna get a little more aggressive, digging in trash cans and eating bird feeders and everything else, getting ready for that winter slumber. Yeah, they slow down considerably in the summer. I don't blame them. I do too. I don't want to get out. Rather sleep, stay in that warm bed. You know how it is. You get comfortable in that bed. Man, who wants to get up? Let's see what I got going here. I don't know what I'm doing. Uh-oh. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sitting here piddling around, just trying to get this morning ready to roll. Anyway, glad to have you this morning. What we're going to be talking a little bit about, I've got certain things I want to get covered in these live streams on Monday mornings, but I'm also interested in interaction. If you scroll by and you see this show, pop in. I want to hear from you. I don't care if you're in the construction trades or not, but I do know this. Probably about 25% of the workforce in this country is somehow involved in construction. So there's a bunch of us out here, and we might as well start forming up and looking after each other and building our leadership. Well, we need young guys getting out there. You're just getting into the trades. It's a different world till you figure it out. You're not used to grown men talking to you like that. You're used to your mama cuddling you and coddling you. Your daddy going, "It'll be all right, son." And you get out here in the workforce, these old construction rough cuts, they giving you down the road, testing your nettle. But we do it because we want you to come on along and toughen up and not only toughen your hands, but toughen your mind, toughen your spirit. Anyway, uh, want to talk about, and man, I know you guys get tired of hearing it, but this respirable crystalline silica. It You really can't afford to ignore this silica dust, and there's several sources of it. It can be dust from concrete when you're mixing it, cutting it, breaking it, block dust, brick dust, mortar dust, stone dust. On construction and demolition projects, we've all seen the cloud of dirt and dust flying in the air. But here's the dangerous part. The particles capable of causing the greatest damage are often so small that you can't see them. You have to be aware when that kind of work is going on that there is a risk. Respirable silica dust can be generated when workers cut, they grind, drill, chip, crush, jackhammer, or demolish silica-containing materials. Now, these microscopic particles, the dust you see, yes, but that's not the stuff that can hurt you. Inside that big old cloud dust, there are even smaller particles that are invisible. And sometimes it'll look just like a fog. And these microscopic particles can travel deep into your lungs. Now, repeated exposure to that invisible silica dust has been associated with diseases like silicosis, lung cancer, COPD, a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's been associated with kidney disease. And silicosis is an incurable lung disease. Now, we've known about it for a number of years now, and OSHA has done their studies, and they have OSHA construction has standards, and it establishes an 8-hour permissible exposure of 50 micrograms per meter of air. So think about a meter by a meter by a meter cube, and they allow 50 micrograms of respirable silica dust to be in that. That's permissible. That's the most you can be exposed to. However, there's an action level of half that, 25 micrograms. And I guess the best way to describe a microgram, I should have had a visual this morning. I had a class one time where they took a packet of Sweet and Low and divided it like 8 times, poured it out, and told you to spread it out into a little flat peel and divide it 8 times. And 1/8 of a packet of Sweet and Low, I think that's what it was equivalent to 50 micrograms of material. And that's what they allow in a cubic meter. But, the numbers alone, they don't protect anybody. Controls do. Now, OSHA has a table, and it's called Table 1, and it's under the silica standard, and it identifies common construction activities and some specific control methods. If you've got a smartphone, just look up OSHA Table 1 for silica, and it'll give you some guidelines. There's some additional companies out there like Concrete Cores and Cutters Association and things like that that also have done their studies. They've got a vast volume of what your exposure is doing particular type of activities. So there's resources out there, but the first stop should definitely be the OSHA Table 1 for silica. And it has some specific control measures, and you'll see things like wet methods that keep dust from becoming airborne. And I don't care what kind of concrete cutting or breaking you're doing, there should be water involved. You just don't want to breathe those microscopic particles into your lungs. A lot of the tool manufacturers, they could see it coming, and they jumped right into developing tool-mounted dust collection, things like shrouds. Local exhaust ventilation is another way. HEPA filtered vacuums, and then there's respiratory protection where the task and exposure requires it. Now, you'll see that kind of stuff in Table 1. If you're unsure, your company doesn't have any kind of any type of standard, you feel free to contact me, and I'll get back with you, and we'll talk about the various type of exposures and talk about Table 1. And if what you're doing is not in Table 1, we can come up with a way to monitor the exposure and see what kind of protection you need. Here's another important lesson in that, and I see it all the time. Guys dry sweeping their work area, and you see the dust kicking up. Remember, that's the dust you can see. This respirable silica dust you won't see. It could be a cloud 10 times larger than what you see popping up when they're dry sweeping. So, if you see me on a job site, I'm not going to allow any type of dry sweeping. It don't have to be a muddy mess. I'm not suggesting that you sweep mud and you have to use a squeegee to get it up. I'm just suggesting that you keep it moist and damp, just to keep that dust down. I don't want that stuff getting in your lungs, and you ought not want it getting in your lungs either. And a couple other things you see is people blowing dust off the clothes of the work area with compressed air. So you just don't want to do that, because it is so small. When you blow that stuff off, you're just blowing it, and it's around you, a big cloud, and you won't even see it. And that stuff is getting in your lungs. Now, you say, oh, it's just a quick exposure. Yeah, but how many quick exposures over your work life will you get? You don't want to get to my age where you can't run around and play with your grandchildren because you're out of air. There's been studies on things like brick and block layers. Man, they're strong, and they get out there and they work, and they're laying that block, and they're putting that mortar on those blocks and mixing that mortar and breaking those blocks. And when they start hitting their primes in their 40s and 50s, all of a sudden they slow down drastically. It's because they've exposed themselves to that dust for so long. And I want you to think about it. That stuff gets settled into your lungs, and your moist lung lining, it starts setting that stuff like concrete around the little alveoli sacs inside your lungs. And, they're supposed to expand. It's where oxygen and CO2 exchange out of your body. And those things become less and less efficient. So before you know it, man, you can't even get your breath. And it happens slowly. Just when you need to really be putting the money away for retirement and all that stuff, that's when the negative impact normally shows up. So be careful when you're messing with that stuff. That giant dust cloud isn't proof that somebody's working hard. It may be proof that work needs better controls. Recognize the material, know what kind of material you're working with, know the task and what you're going to be doing. Are you going to be breaking concrete? Is there going to be a risk of exposure? Control the dust at the source. And like I said, water is probably the best way. And if that don't get it, then you need to think about respiratory protections. And remember, man, your lungs don't have a replaceable filter. Protect the ones you were issued. And really. All right. We've been talking about invisible dust particles long enough. Let's find something we can see coming. Some Monday morning foolishness. If you got a good joke, got a good funny, send it my way. I need all the interaction I can get to help keep me motivated and moving along on these early Monday mornings. New labor asked superintendent, "Boss, how can you tell who the experienced workers are?" Superintendent said, "Easy. They're the ones standing upwind." They don't get in that dust and stuff. And another one here. A worker looked into the game box and yelled, "Anybody seen my tape measure?" The old foreman said, "Isn't that the one clipped on your belt?" The worker looked down and says, "No wonder nobody stole it." And finally, old safety man, this is pretty good now. Safety man asked an old carpenter, "Do you know what respirable means?" The carpenter said, "Yep." Safety man looked kind of impressed. Carpenter continued, "It means if I'm breathing it, I probably ought to move. You know what? I'm not entirely sure that's OSHA's official definition, but the man's instincts were bad. All right, let's get back to work, you scallywags." Here we go. It is 5:28 in the morning. I'm finally getting shook up, moved, and getting moving around now. Send me a chat. Say good morning. Ask me a question. Stump the safety guy. Maybe that's what we ought to make. One of the sections of the show is called Stump the Safety Guy. Boy, I've been stumped plenty of times on a job site, not only in safety, but hey man, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? What do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's have a meeting. Hey, I'll tell you something now. That's not too far from the truth of the thing. If you've got a challenge that you and your crew are facing, don't discount the guy who pushes the wheelbarrow who just got out of school last week. Fresh eyes, they can sometimes look at something and go, "How come you do it that way? Why don't you try it this way?" And you go, I don't know why we ain't ever tried it that way. It worked like a charm. And then all of a sudden that comes standard procedure, and you make that guy foreman. He ain't been out of school a week. But have those meetings of the minds. In some arenas in leadership, that's called theory of the mastermind, and it's a very useful tool. If you've got a challenging situation and you've got several ideas on how to approach it, gather your team around and discuss with them and ask them, how do you think we ought to do that? Don't tell them exactly what you're thinking, but start getting their opinions, and different perspectives and different opinions and different experience levels will reveal different thoughts, and in that melding of all those ideas will in most cases present the best route to get that task done. Don't disregard safety, but in a safe, timely, and efficient manner. Sometimes that 5-minute meeting can prevent the team from making mistakes that could take hours to get right, particularly in the demolition field where it could be a real danger. Anyway, there we are. Hey, listen, moving along. It's August, and August in the South is man, it's rough. It's August. It's August. You know, people talk about July and all that, but August is probably with the heat, humidity, and sweat, and that special southern weather where we're walking from the truck to the job, feels like somebody wrapped you in a warm, wet blanket, and it can tap your energy pretty quick. Now, working safely in these conditions begins before the work gets hard. First, hydration. You know, I've been on several jobs, and there were several ways around that. Not around it, but to prepare for it. One of the favorite ways I've had in the past, man, we were sawing down a hospital, and it was August, and we were near a river over in Alabama, and had limited space, and the guys were exposed to the sun all day long, or a big portion of the day, because we were setting up and using wire saws and cranes, hook up a crane to a piece of concrete structure and wire saw it and take it down. But first thing in the mornings, I would go to the grocery store, to Walmart or whatever, and get a watermelon. And sometimes I'd refrigerate it, and sometimes I wouldn't. But in our early morning safety meetings or PTP meetings, I would have that watermelon sliced up, and we would eat that watermelon. Well, watermelon will hydrate you. Look at all the water. That's why I call it a watermelon, blah, blah, blah. And I ain't ever met anybody that didn't like watermelon, but we would eat watermelon, and I'd have salt out there, and people would salt it. So they were getting mineral, and they were getting hydrated. And on other jobs, when we had our safety meetings or our PTP meetings, the rule was that you had to drink a bottle of water in that meeting. That was the rule. And we would have the meeting, and everybody would drink a bottle of water. And that way they were already hydrated before they went into it. Now, OSHA stresses water, rest, and shade. Now, don't wait until you're thirsty. Keep hydrating all day. all the time. In hot conditions, workers should drink regularly throughout the shift. And OSHA has repeatedly encouraged roughly a cup of water every 15 minutes to 20 minutes during the work. So that means in an 8-hour shift, you ought to drink 8 bottles of water. So supervisors and foremen, if that's your job to make sure that you have fresh water on your job site, count them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and divide that number in half, and that's how many cases of water you should have on your job every day. Now, some people they'll buy Gatorade. Gatorade's got the electrolytes in it and things that you need, but you don't need to overload on those electrolytes. You need to moderate that use. You might have 1 bottle of Gatorade midday or something to replace those electrolytes, but if you stop and have a break and you have a lunch and then you have an afternoon break, and they have a piece of fruit or a good lunch, a light lunch, they're getting all the minerals they need. So the Gatorade is really just, in my opinion, all about the marketing. If you have a good diet and you stay hydrated amply with water under the recommendations we just covered, you'll be in good shape. And also train your guys, and I know who wants to talk about pee, but train your guys to look at the color of their urine when they go to the bathroom, and understand what urine looks like in a well-hydrated individual, and what urine might look like in an individual that's not well hydrated. I'll go for a walk. I went for a walk Friday, and it's 72, and I'll be soaked from head to toe, flat out soaked. So when you're sweating heavily for long periods, those electrolyte containing drinks can help. But like I said, as long as you're eating, you should be okay. Hydration doesn't begin at 10:30 when you're already struggling. Start the day hydrated. We covered it briefly, but second, nutrition is important. Your body is a biological machine. Fuel it accordingly. Hot weather work generally pairs better with sensible portions and food that provide steady energy. I'll eat a lot of fruit. My wife, if she's packed me a lunch, she knows to put 1 or 2 apples in there, and normally some celery sticks and a sandwich, and whole wheat bread. And you want lean proteins and whole grains. And then, like I mentioned before, water-rich foods like watermelon, oranges, cucumbers, and berries. Don't expect your body to perform like a diesel engine all afternoon when breakfast was an energy drink and lunch was 2 candy bars. Don't treat your body like that. And another thing, not being critical here, some of us like to have beer after work. And some of us like to have multiple beers after work. They'll come home dehydrated, not staying hydrated throughout the day. And then they'll get home and they start trying to hydrate with beer. Well, that has the exact opposite effect. Alcohol use the night before can leave you starting the next day's work already behind on hydration. So monitor that carefully. I'm not being critical, just I'm just telling you, if you've been working all day, you've been sweating all day, and you hadn't had enough water, your body's going to think that beer is going to hydrate you. Well, it don't. That's not what it does. It dehydrates you. And then we talked about work and rest. And here's where we need some common sense. There isn't one magic schedule saying, at this temperature, everybody gets exactly this many minutes of rest. OSHA recommends evaluating the actual heat stress, preferably using a wet bulb globe temperature. And I've got one over here in the kit. It's just a thermometer. It's got a little thermometer. It spins on, you hold it in the handle and the thermometer spins around, and you dip the bulb in water and spin it, and it checks the humidity and what it really feels like. But to use that kind of information, and you don't really need that, you can use your smartphone and check humidity and check the temperature, and along with what the guys are doing. And if they're in full PPE, protective gear with a respirator, and it's 98 and the humidity's at 85, they're not going to be able to work long, maybe 20 minutes before they need a break. And they're going to need a place to cool down. And if you want production to stay up, you may have to have 3 separate crews, one getting ready to work, one working, and one just coming out of work. So you just got to pay attention to what's going on. Because heat stress increases. Rest frequency and duration must increase in certain situations, just like I was talking about. OSHA recommends workers should generally be receiving hourly breaks when heat stress exceeds recommended levels. What those levels are, check the OSHA standards, check and see what you can find. But normally, just keep an eye on your guys, keep an eye on your people. Heavy work requires more recovery than light work. We know that. Direct light matters, humidity matters, respirators and heavy protective clothing matters. And new or returning workers need additional time to acclimatize. A guy just gets back from vacation. He might have been down at the beach, but he was under an umbrella drinking a drink with an umbrella in it. So he hadn't been stressing himself. He's just been relaxing and chilling out by the pool and playing with the kids and all that. And all of a sudden he's coming back to work with, and you put him under a heavy workload, it's going to affect him. So be careful with those new guys. And another thing is, this time of day, this time of year in August, maybe you ought to schedule a 6 a.m. start instead of a 7 a.m. start, and call it off earlier in the day if possible, depending on the schedule. But mostly be able to provide adequate means of hydration. That is the responsibility of the employer, to ensure that there's enough fresh, potable water on the job site for each worker. Use worker rotation. Use shade or air-conditioned recovery areas. Boy, if you got an air-conditioned recovery area, you are the bomb. You got it made. I have set up canopies and used Rainbird that they use for irrigation, and with a filter on it and all set up, so it was just a constant mist under the canopy, and had a table under there, and you'd see the guys come in there all red-faced and sit down and take a break for 10 minutes or so, just to cool down. you know, because stopping for 10 or 15 minutes to cool down really doesn't hurt production. Production falls off when the guys get weaker. But heat exhaustion at 1:30 in the afternoon, that really hurts production. You think about it. If a one man goes into a heat stress situation, it's going to take a couple of men to aid him to get to first aid, and you're taking 3 men out of production and one guy probably more than for the rest of the day. And you got to think about those costs in production. So it's better to let the guys find a shady spot and cool off 1 or 2 times an hour. You know, if it's 98 or 95 with high humidity, let them get a break in there. But proper planning protects both the worker and the schedule. Remember, that's safe, that's timely, and that's efficient. Wow, man, we have blown through. It is 5:46 in the morning. All right, send me a chat. Get into the conversation here. Now, this week on the safety channel, right here. I can see my microphone in the darn thing. Right here, on the other channel, this week, or we're starting a series, in our next chapter in construction safety, and it's health hazards. And I think it's, I got it right here. I can tell you exactly how many. Oh yeah, so we got 12 sections, 12 videos, but we'll be starting that this week. The series of series that I'm doing follows the OSHA suggested curriculum for the 10-hour OSHA outreach training. So, and they're good for toolbox safety topic meetings, but they're following a curriculum. But we're starting health hazards, and that's a section in the OSHA standard. Some occupational injuries happen instantly. We talked about that. Health hazards often work differently. The exposure can happen today, and the illness may appear years later. Throughout this series, we'll be talking about hazards such as what we talked about this morning, respirable silica dust. And then we'll be talking about noise, lead, respiratory hazards, chemical exposures, and heat stress, and other occupational health concerns that construction workers may face over a career. We'll talk about how exposures occur, how we can recognize them, how to control them, what OSHA requires, and perhaps most importantly, why protecting tomorrow's health requires decisions made today. Now, construction workers are very good at recognizing things that can hurt us immediately. A falling load, a suspended load, an unguarded edge, a rotating shaft. But professional safety also means recognizing what may hurt us 20 years from now. A successful career isn't simply reaching retirement. It's reaching retirement healthy enough to enjoy it. And that's my goal, and it should certainly be your goal. That's where we're headed next. All right, boys and girls. Man, we have already done it. I'm out of breath. I mean, yakking and all that this morning. Matter of fact, we was talking about hydration earlier. I think I need to get me a little hydration going on. I hope y'all bear with me. Oh yeah. All right. Let's protect tomorrow's worker, you. Well, friends, another Monday morning has arrived. Is the sun coming up yet? Not yet, but it's fixing to start coming up. I can see the trucks parked at the Quick Trip loading up on diesel and gasoline to get people to where they need to be and fuel for equipment. I can see the old dump trucks and the roll-off truck, the guys getting rolling to get to their destination. Coffee cups getting lighter. Yeah, mine's missing a little bit now too. And another week's of honest work lies ahead. Now, this morning we talked about hazards we sometimes overlook because the consequences aren't immediate. Now, silica doesn't knock you down today to hurt you. Silica doesn't have to knock you down today to hurt you. Heat doesn't have to put you in the hospital before you begin respecting it. Occupational health is about thinking further down the road. And maybe that's where today's phrase of the week best fits. Temporary work and permanent reputation. And I'd add one more thought. Some exposures can have permanent consequences too. So build the job, protect the builder, control the dust, drink the water, take the break, eat like your body matters, watch out for your coworkers, and speak up when something doesn't look right. And understand that taking care of yourself isn't weakness, it's professional responsibility. Everybody expects you home tonight. They want to see you come through the door grumpy or happy. They still want to see you. And somebody is going to want you healthy 20 years from now. So keep all that stuff in mind. And I appreciate you tuning in and watching this morning. Like I said, today's show, I'm pretty sure, is 1 year that I've been doing this early morning live stream for all my buddies out there, not only in the construction, but the guys who get up and make things happen. The guys who get up at 4:30 in the morning, get rolling, get out there and make things happen, taking down the old and bringing in the new, rebuilding. And some of the stuff we do we'll spend a portion of our lives building something for others to use. That's something to be proud of. Who knows? Maybe they'll look at us like the old guys who built the pyramid and try and figure out how in the heck did them guys do that? Looking at us like we're amazing, but actually it was just hard work and proper planning. But anyway, I've really enjoyed my time with you this morning. Don't ever, if you see this on the rerun or on the recorded, however you see it, send me a message, send me a chat, give it a thumbs up, let me know you appreciate my effort, because you know what? I appreciate your effort. That's why I get up on Monday mornings like this, because I appreciate you guys out there. and I want to talk you up and get you motivated and moving along in the right direction. But anyway, I'm going to sign this thing off. I know it's 5 minutes early, but I'm going to go ahead and sign it off unless somebody sends me a chat. I'm about talked out. I've covered the script and talked about the things I thought was important. Clear it for you. Thank you so much for helping me put this script together. I know you're just AI. I know what's real and ain't real. But without the research capabilities that these large language models have, I don't know that I could put together the show like this as often as I do, along with the other things I do, without that capability. Also, thank you, Elon. This live stream has gone out this morning without a single hiccup, as far as I can tell. I'm streaming via Starlink satellite services that provide me the opportunity to do this, which I would, with the current services I have in my area, there is no way that this could happen using any of those other government-funded lackadaisical service providers that like to advertise themselves as high-speed internet providers who can do no better than a dial-up, taking all that money to get us rural people the internet. But anyway, it is 5:57 in the morning. I'm going to close this thing out and play you the early morning song here. Anyway, everybody have a grateful day. Have a grateful week. And be sure to tune in to the other channels. And I'll see you back here next Monday morning until we see each other again. As always, have a grateful day, and we'll see you next time.
Don't stop nothing. Rain, cold, or blazing heat. We show up ready every day and stand on our own 2 feet. Get that coffee and hit the road. No delay, no slowing down. Another job, another load. We're the backbone of this town. Get to the site and get to working. Hands in motion, engines turning. Making America great again. With sweat and grit we're earning. Breaking down the old and failing. Building strength that won't give in. From the ground up, never trailing. Making America great again. Building the new infrastructure to hold the future. Laying down the work that time won't erase. Building up again from sending rockets to housing the many. Every place. From highways stretching miles and miles to homes where families grow. We don't just build for today. We build for years we'll never know. You see it when you drive by. Steel going up. Concrete being poured. That's us. That's blue collar. Building a newer, stronger foundation. Rising higher every day. Building stronger, higher and better. We don't back down or fade away. Making America great again. Every beam and every stone. We don't just build the country. We build build a place called home.